All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We'll get the door open. We get people that were in the waiting room coming in. So that's good. We'll get everybody a minute or so. So to come in, we're going to reward the people that were on time by starting on time. So that's a beautiful thing. There goes the. Ah. Oh, okay.
And they keep pouring in. Look at that. We are at 41 already, and it's been less than 1 minute. You are not
Less than one
joking
minute. We're not even
around.
on time. Let me. I have one. I have one person who's watching. Let's see here. I'm just gonna my. All right, here we go, guys. Perfect. Okay, I wanted to get that out to him. All right, it is 12 o'clock. I am super excited. Why am I super excited? Because this is the most reservations we've had for one of our Zoom events pretty much ever. So I'm really, really excited about that. We've got a lot of people watching in groups remotely. So for us to help us with our head count, if you guys are in a big room watching this together in your real estate conference room, please throw it out in the chat like, hey, there's 5 of us here, there's 4 of us here at Exit, there's 6 of us here at Berkshire, whatever you guys got going on. Please put that in the chat because we're really excited to get that information. Looks like the chat is alive and well. I'm going to have to open that up. All right, good. They got 12 people sitting at Remax at home. 13 apparently. So there you go. People coming into the office. That's good. All right. So we have 13 people and 1 registration over there, Alan. So those numbers are climbing as we speak. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So really quick for you guys, this is going to be very interactive. We are going to have you guys asking questions as you go. Probably preferable that they're in the chat so we have one place to look for questions. So if you guys got them, Alan and I are going to kind of balance those questions out going through there. And then we also want to get right to our sponsors. So some of you were fortunate enough to get in early and grab a sandwich by good old Jimmy John. So thank you very much, Alex. I want to introduce you guys to Alex Hines. He is with Dos Manos Moving. Dos Manos Moving is one of our preferred vendor partners here with the Kimball team and Cross Country Mortgage. So Alex, I'm going to turn this over to you and let all of these realtors know how you can help them and their clients.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rich. Good afternoon, everybody. Alex, I'm one of the partners at Dos Manos. We are full service. We do all of Chicago, all of the suburbs, all northern Illinois. We are approaching 100 5-star reviews, and to date, so far, we've never gotten anything less than a 5-star review. So our service is something we pride ourselves on. But one thing I wanted to talk to all of you guys about is we have a great program for realtors and other professionals, but we work with a lot of realtors where we will send you our marketing collateral to put in your packets or whatnot. And if we get referrals from you, we pay you back a 5% fee on it. And then we also add you to our website to give you the SEO backlinks and all of that. So we're working with a lot of realtors. It's been a successful program. Realistically, if it depends on how many clients you work with, but it can be $250 to $2,000 a month extra is what we've been paying out to realtors. So it's not nothing. It's not life-changing money either, but it's been a good incentive for a lot of our partners. And it's basically just money on the table for work you're otherwise doing already. Think the biggest question I always get asked though is what our rates are and what we charge. And there isn't a short answer because it depends. We start at 150 an hour, but it always depends on how many people and there's a lot of factors that go on with that. But I think the heart of the question is, are we affordable? And the answer is we try to be, we're not the cheapest, but we're also not the most expensive. We try to be competitive with our pricing, but we definitely pay our people living wages, and there's always going to be somebody that can do something cheaper. So just keep that in mind. I think Tony should put my cell phone in the chat if she didn't already. You can reach out to me with any questions you have. The one thing is, if you have anybody that needs a quote, have them call the main company line. I don't do the quotes myself, and we have an intake system that we've worked on. So if they can call that line, that would be the best way for them to get that done.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Alex, for sponsoring. We really appreciate the partnership. Alex's information is in the chat, so you guys can reach out for Alex if you're looking for that referral. That's perfect. Now, without further ado, we want to jump into the main event, the main attraction. My really good friend, Alan Stern. He has been working in this area for many, many, many years, was able to move away from a career that I think he felt was probably unsatisfying into something that is much more fulfilling and really better suits his lifestyle. And without further ado, I want to introduce Alan Stern from Persona Marketing. And before I guess I should qualify one other thing. This will be a working workshop. And if you can, you should be looking at this through a laptop so that you can actually work alongside with Alan. Hopefully I didn't steal any from you, Alan. But Alan, floor is yours.
You're all good, man. And hey, before we get started, what I just wanted to do, I just genuinely wanted to turn it back to you and say, you know what, Rich, thank you again for all that you do, man. I know a lot of, I recognize a lot of familiar names on this call. So it's great to see everybody again. And I know many of you may know Rich on the business sense, but I've been blessed to call Rich not only a business partner and a client, for the better part of a decade, but on a personal level, he's just a great dude. So if you've never worked with him before, I promise you, he's always looking for creative ways to add value, not only to his network, but his team. So again, thank you for all that you do, Rich. And shifting gears, here is the deal. For the next hour, I'm going to be extremely, extremely generous with what I share with you today. I just have one ask, and that is simply that you take what I'm going to share with you and you run with it. Because you're in this small window of time where every single industry over the past few years has just been rattled. And we're all asking ourselves the same thing, and that is, how can I accomplish more with less? How can I get a strategic edge on my competition? And there's so many people that are skeptical on A, how to use AI, and B, if it's even going to stick around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the exact prompts to use ChatGPT for business. Now, before we get started, I'm going to give you guys like a 2-3 minute warning. If you're not watching this already on a laptop, definitely do it. I encourage you to have ChatGPT up and running because I'm going to tell you exactly what to feed this thing. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, for me to better understand the audience today, again, this is going to be interactive. Do me a favor, drop yes or no if you are currently using ChatGPT in one way, shape, or form. Maybe you're using it for emails. Maybe you're using it for content. Maybe you're using it for a newsletter. Cool. So we got a pretty good amount of you who are already using it. Now, what's interesting is I still have to have this conversation with a lot of people. I go to networking events almost on a weekly basis, and I have people say, Alan, you know what? I see you doing a lot of these speaking engagements on AI, but like, what's the deal? Is this thing legitimately helpful? Like, what can this do for my business? So if that's you, let me bring you from step 0 to step 1 when it comes to using this. The difference between something like Google, and when I say AI, I'm specifically talking about ChatGPT today. The difference between something like Google versus ChatGPT is Google will give you suggestions. So you go on the platform and you type in restaurants near me, gas stations near me, whatever it is, and it suggests that you go to other websites. ChatGPT is a little bit different in the fact that it gives you answers and you can have dialogue with it or chat with it. And now you can kind of use it as your consultant. So the best example that I can give you, this is truly like doing math freehand versus using the calculator. So think back to your K through 12 years or even college. Let's say that you had made the decision that you were going to get really, really good at math. Like you went all out and you decided that you were going to hire a tutor and exhaust every waking moment developing that skill set. Cool. Like, good for you. If I gave you a math problem, you may be able to do it by freehand. However, it will take you a while. And if you go against the calculator, you will lose every single time when it comes to speed. And the same applies now in the business world because you can literally make this thing the best employee that's not on payroll. Now, with that being said, AI is getting to a point where it can mean 100 different things to 100 different people. So that we can stay focused today, we're only going to cover three things. That way it's simple, it's actionable, and you're able to do this right on the fly. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use this for market research. Now, go ahead and drop in the chat if you've ever attended some market research study in the past. Like they used to call these focus groups back in the day. Basically, you went and you got paid to give your opinion on something. And you know what? Side note, fun fact, that was one of my high school jobs. That's right. Yours truly used to work at Woodfield Mall, and my job as a teenager was to approach innocent bystanders and ask if they wanted to get paid for doing a survey, to which they would usually tell me to kick rocks and go about their business. But it taught me a valuable lesson on developing the resilience mindset at a young age. I'm bringing this up because in years past, it used to be really expensive to do stuff like that. You used to have to rent a venue, hire a staff, donate product, and then compensate the people for giving their opinion. Now, all that you have to do is ask an AI tool like ChatGPT the right questions, and you can do all of that in like 2 minutes or less. So that's the first thing that we're going to do today, and we're going to develop a niche on the fly. That way you have something that you leave with. Now, once we develop a niche and we figure out who it is that we're talking to, we can feed all of that data back to ChatGPT and use it to draft emails that actually sound like a real person wrote it. Because ChatGPT is only as good as what you tell it to do, and most people don't really know these advanced prompts. So that's going to be the second part of the time that we spend together. And the third part is we're going to take all of that data, again, feed it back to chat on the fly, and we're going to leverage it to get ideas for social media content. This could involve newsletters, rule of thumb videos, memes, all of these things we'll actually do on the fly. That way you, again, leave here with something. But for those of you who are still not convinced, let's talk about why you should use this for your business. And don't take my word for it. I'm going to bring the receipts on anything that I share with you today. According to Nielsen, which is one of the biggest market research companies in the game, this article was done almost 2 years ago, and they claimed that AI on average is giving employees up to a 66% boost in productivity. Now, the majority of you on this call today are realtors, and you may say, well, Alan, I don't have any employees. I'm a salesperson. Well, if you are a team of one, congratulations. You are the employee in your business. So if you've ever wondered, how can I buy back some of my time, clone myself, for lack of better words, and accomplish more by doing less, this is your opportunity to do that. So the three things that we're going to cover, again, market research, task assistance, and social media. When you do this correctly in the digital age, you are able to overlap three facets of business that most people used to have to outsource. And those three areas are sales, marketing, and graphic design. And I'm going to pick on all three of these areas, and I'm going to show you the strengths and, more importantly, the disconnects in areas of improvement for all three of them. And what's nice is by just leveraging AI a little bit, you can overlap all three of these areas. Now, what I love is I get to do this presentation today in front of my favorite audience, which is a room full of salespeople. Because I've lived that life for going on 20 years, I'm one of you and I understand you. Which means, with love, I get the opportunity to pick on you for a little bit. So salespeople are usually a very special personality type. If you really think about it, it takes a certain kind of resilience, a certain kind of person to agree to work on a production-only basis. So what we have to get really, really good at is three things. Number one, we have to spend our time getting really good at building rapport. We have to be great communicators and fun to be around, because if somebody doesn't like us, they're not going to do business with us, which is why salespeople are usually pretty fun to be around, which is why at networking events, it's usually the salespeople that are closing the event down, right? Let's call it what it is. But here's the thing. Oftentimes, salespeople, we get lost in building rapport. That's great. You can make a friend, but you still have to get good at two other things. Number one, creating a win-win scenario. Negotiation can mean 100 different things for 100 different people, but the reality is neither party wants to feel like they got had. So you got to get good at negotiating, but most importantly, none of this works unless you convert somebody from a prospect into a paid client. Otherwise, we can make as many friends as we want, but if we're production based, it's not going to do us any good unless we move somebody to that stage. Now, here's what my time in the car business for a decade and a half and 2 decades of owning a DJ company has taught me. Most of the people that are really, really good at sales are great when they're in front of somebody, which is easy to adopt this mindset of, you know what? Just put them in front of me and I'll close. It's a huge problem in many industries. But here's the thing. You could be great at closing. Hell, you could bat 1,000. You can close every single deal that you touch, but it will do you no good unless you know how to market and create opportunities for you to sell. And what I find is oftentimes most people who are really good at sales don't have the patience or the desire to learn the ins and outs of marketing. Now, on the other hand, let's pick on your marketers for a second. Those of you who have met a lot of marketers or maybe have a background in this will quickly notice there is a big personality difference between a salesperson and a marketer. A marketer is usually somebody who's really, really smart, that knows advanced things. These are the people that know the ins and outs of lead generation, also known as creating opportunities to sell. The truth is, you can absolutely suck at sales, but if you can create enough opportunities to afford failure, you're actually better off. So, those who master lead generation oftentimes know either a little bit or a lot of it on paid traffic. This can involve SEO, Facebook ads, Google ads, email drip campaigns, whatever it is. These are the people who know how to get eyeballs on your offering, which then means you have to put them somewhere. You need to create some sort of predictable buyer's journey or workflows, which involves a CRM. Now, here's what I find. Marketers, again, very smart people that know advanced things, which means smart people trying to explain advanced things usually goes over the masses' head. So what I find is much like salespeople usually struggle with marketing, a lot of marketers struggle to dumb things down to a fifth grade level where most decisions are made. So where am I going with this? What happens if you learn both? Just like that, you have the ability to write your own paychecks. But the key thing here is we're talking about doing this on social media and in the digital world. So we still need to have something to show, which means we either have to have some sort of skill sets in graphic design or we have to outsource it, whether it's a marketing team, a designer, or some sort of virtual assistant. Now, I think I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask the question anyways. Drop yes or no in the chat if you happen to have a skill set or a background in graphic design. Just drop yes or no. I want to see how many people answer this. We got 80 people that are here plus some groups. The overwhelming majority of people are answering no. Now, I want to show you the opportunity here. Let's say that you are one of the people, the handful of people that said yes. Here's what your graphic designers focus in on, is they focus in on the aesthetics. Like most creatives, they like to let their skill set and their work do the talking for you. So what that involves is creating a consistent look across platforms and focusing it on branding. If you're designing a flyer or a press release, it has to be scannable because if it's too cluttered, it might be counterproductive. And truly, in this day and age, less is more, so they focus in on the art of visual storytelling, which basically means conveying a message without a lot of text. Now, as somebody who's had a background in the creative space for a while, I made the mistake early in my career saying, I'm going to let my skill set do the talking. But the problem was, when I adopted that mindset, nobody ever heard me or saw it because I didn't know how to market myself. So where am I going with this? I want to show you the opportunity here. At this point, I've unpacked the strengths and weaknesses out of all three of these areas. So ask yourself this. What happens if you, the salesperson, learn how to create marketing that sells, that looks cool, and you could do it all by yourself? You effectively hit the bullseye and you literally run circles around your competition. And that's my goal from here on out, to show you how to do that, because AI can do the majority of that legwork for you. So from here on out, everything is going to focus in on one concept, and that is becoming and positioning yourself as the trusted resource on speed dial. because people do business with those who they know, like, and trust. Now, if I'm meeting some of you for the first time, let me actually share with you what this term means to me. My background for the past, let's just call it 2 decades, has consisted of owning a DJ company, which I still do, and selling cars. Now, ask yourselves this. Do the words trust and car salesman usually belong in the same sentence? Right. Exactly. Uphill battle here. So high stakes decision there. And same thing when it comes to DJing. It's a high stake decision if you're going to book a DJ for your wedding, your event, because if you book the wrong DJ, there's serious consequences. So I've had to navigate how to do all of this myself. And I'm going to share with you a little thing called the heat method, which will allow people to warm up to you over time. For the sake of this call, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is another workshop and I want to keep things tactical with AI. But if you combine humor, education, you add value, and you focus in on building trust, you do all of this in your social media content strategy, people will simply warm up to you over time. They may not need your product or service right now, but in the event that they do, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road, they will likely at least give you a shot. The one thing that we will focus in on today, specifically though, is using education in your marketing. Because here's the thing. In the world of business, we exchange money to solve problems. When you have specialized knowledge and you educate your market on how you can help them, you're out of the salesperson category and you're into the trusted resource category. When you are a resource, people want to pick your brain. And when they pick your brain, you've just generated a lead, but you've done so by being able to solve a problem in the marketplace. So I'm going to give you guys a 30-second warning now. Go ahead and open up ChatGPT because now we're going to shift gears into the tactical section where I'm going to share with you exactly what to share with this, exactly what prompts to give it. So before I actually get to that and I give you the prompt, let me shed some context. In the world of business, again, I'm going to beat a dead horse here. We exchange money to solve problems. We join a chamber of commerce or a business association and exchange our time and our money with that organization so that we can solve the problem of lack of visibility. We go to a car wash in the dead of winter and exchange our time and our money to do that so that we can solve the problem of not having to clean our car ourselves in the freezing cold. So what we can do here, we can use ChatGPT as our thinking partner and reverse engineer problems that actually make the phones ring in the first place. So if you'd like to make the most out of today, go ahead and type this exact prompt into ChatGPT. Type in, what are 5 problems that would cause someone to consider listing their home for sale in 2025? Now I'm going on the listing side here, but let's say that you wanted to shift gears and do this on the buying side. You're welcome to do that. If you want to even get more specific, you could say, what are 5 problems that would cause someone to consider listing their home for sale in whatever neighborhood you live in? It could be Schaumburg, Elmhurst, Chicago, whatever it is. Because the more specific that you get with this, the better data that it's going to give. And the better data that it gives you, the more precise of a target market that we're going to get in the next step. So I'll give you about 30 seconds or so. Go ahead and type that in. And then what will happen is as soon as you click next, you will see something that looks like this. If you've never used ChatGPT before, it is truly the equivalent of like doing a Google search. You see, there's nothing intimidating about this whatsoever. You just ask it to do something and it does it. And in this case, I've asked, what are 5 problems that would cause somebody to consider listing their house? And as you see, it just gave me 5 of them. Now, before I go on to the next one, go ahead and drop finished in the chat if you've already done this. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to build on this. And when we build on it, now we're going to create a niche and we're going to take all of that data and feed it back to it. And if you need the prompt, I'll leave it up here for like 10 more seconds. So Building on this, and this is what I love about ChatGPT, is we can have dialogue with it. Now that it gave us a thread of data, and in this case, the data is the 5 problems that would cause someone to consider listing their home, we can ask it to go a layer deeper. And the layer deeper that we're going to ask is we're going to say, give me an audience that is most likely to experience each of the problems that are listed above. And because all of this is in a thread through ChatGPT, it already recognizes the data that it gave us and it just simply builds on it. Pretty simple stuff. Now, you may be wondering for a second, all right, like Alan, this is cool, but why am I doing this? Well, ask yourself this, how much easier would it be for somebody to refer you if you could give them a target customer profile? So now what we've done here, once it builds on this, is we just click next, and you will see that it starts going to work. And now you have a problem that makes the phone ring in the first place, along with an audience that is most likely to experience it. So if you were to meet somebody at a networking event and they were to come up to you and say, hey, you know what? I'm just curious, who's a good referral for you? As opposed to you just giving them a blanket answer saying, well, I don't know, anybody who's looking to buy or sell. You could say, I'm looking to get in front of blank audience who experiences blank problem. So before I go on to step 3, I'll leave this prompt up here for a little bit. Prompt 1, problem that makes the phone ring. Prompt number 2, give me an audience that's most likely to experience it. And if you need me to bring you from step 0 to step 1, what is a prompt? A prompt is something that you tell ChatGPT to do. It's basically like what you would search Google. So at this point, I have all of this data, but you see, the thing is, it's kind of busy. Like if we could be honest with each other, like this is cool, but there's a lot of data that's going on here, and it's not really scannable. So diving into the task assistance world, I can ask it to organize it. So after you've done those first 2 prompts, ask ChatGPT this. Take the above 2 threads and put them into table format. Take the above 2 threads and put them into table format. And then as soon as you click next, you will see it's going to take that big heaping pile of data that it gave you, and then it's going to turn it into a table just like this. It's actually pretty crazy. Now, I want to give you a disclaimer. Although many of you are typing the exact same thing into ChatGPT, you will all get different answers for many reasons. Number 1, the algorithm just works like that. Second off, for those of you who are using the free version, your level of software may be different than what I'm using. Now, if you are using the free version of ChatGPT, that's fine. It works great. However, there's a chance that you may not be able to log in because of the amount of the amount of people that are using it. It's I'm not going to say always, but oftentimes it has bandwidth issues. If you upgrade to the pro version, which is like $20 a month, you get guaranteed access, and then you can toggle through different levels of software that write better. So at this point, now I have a problem that makes the phone ring and an audience that's most likely to experience it. Some of you may notice that instead of having a 2-column table, you may have a 3. If you have a third, cool. If you only want 2, you could say, give me a variation of the table without blank section. So what's crazy about this is really think for a second, like, how much would this data used to cost? In order to hire a consultant to come in here and kind of give you some target customer data, like this would cost you somewhere in the four-figure range, which now, just by asking ChatGPT a few things, you've been able to create a niche. So in that networking example that I mentioned before, let's say that you and I met for the first time and you were like, Alan, who's a good referral for you, as opposed to me saying anybody who's looking to buy or sell. I could say, you know what? I appreciate you asking. I'm looking to get in contact with retirees on a fixed income who experience the problem of increased home maintenance repairs. Now, somebody may come to mind. So I want to pause here for a second before I shift gears and just ask if there's any questions on anything that I went over so far. If you need me to go back, I'm happy to give you the prompts because what we're going to do is we're going to build on every single thing that we've done. So if you have any questions, I'll give you like 10, 15 seconds. Just drop them in the chat. Now, for the sake of simplicity, so that I don't confuse all of you on this call today, I'm just going to pick one audience. And that one audience on my data table that I'm going to use here is a retiree on a fixed income who experiences the problem of high home maintenance repairs. And I'll ask you to maybe take 30 seconds and just pick one of them. It doesn't have to be perfect. What you're going to learn from here on out is truly a rinse and repeat formula that you can build on everything, but just pick one. And I'll actually challenge you. Pick the one that you think might be the hardest to actually convert into a client. Because I love pushing ChatGPT to its limit. This software, every time I push it, it never ceases to amaze me. So the one audience that I'm going to build on here is a retiree on a fixed income who has the problem of a high cost of home maintenance repairs. So now that I have narrowed down an audience, it's time for us to put on our sales hat. We got all of the marketing stuff done right there, which is the hard part. Now it's time to get into the fun stuff. Because when we've singled out an audience, we can take that data and ask ChatGPT to give us objections. So whatever your audience is, just type this in. Give me 5 potential objections that blank audience may have about taking blank action. And the blank action in this case is about listing their home. So I'll show you what that looks like for me. Give me 5 potential objections that someone who is a retiree on a fixed income that has a high cost of home maintenance repairs may have about listing their home for sale. Give me 5 potential objections that blank audience may have. Now, side note, I'm only doing 5 here. There's nothing stopping you from doing 10, 15, 20, 50. For those of you on the call today who are in a leadership role, if you're wondering for workshop content for like staff meetings, this is great for role-playing exercises because you can pick an audience, you can get the objections and just workshop it. So again, whatever your audience was, just fish this out. All right, so Leah, step 2 and step 3. Yeah, I'll go back real quick. So step 2 was an audience. Step 1 is the problem. Give me a problem that would cause somebody to consider listing their home for sale. Step 2 is the audience. And then step 3 is optional, but we're just asking it to organize. That's it. And when it's organized, now it's easier to refer back to as opposed to looking at that like never-ending list of text. Now from there, just to walk you back, on your data table, it's organized. Once you pick an audience, just feed that right back to it. And then we're just going to ask for objections. So once we have the objections and we click next, you'll see it'll start going to work. Do a quick screen share, show you what that looks like on my end. Emotional attachment, fear of change, high cost of alternative housing. Now you guys tell me, are these accurate? Like for those of you who are dealing with retirees on a fixed income, would you say that these are common concerns that, come up? Because if the answer is no, I mean, I can definitely, do variations of this. But from what I find, it's usually pretty accurate. In the event that it's not, you just ask for 5 more. So now once we have the objections, the cool part is we can also build on that. Once we've identified the objections, our next prompt is give me one way to overcome each of the listed objections that are listed above. I think I put listed in there twice. Oops. But the cool part is ChatGPT apparently didn't care. Um, but anyway, side note is the cool part about this is the spelling sometimes can be off, your grammar can be off, and it has an idea of what you mean. So just ask it for a way to overcome each of the listed objections. And from there, here's what you'll see. Now, there's a fork in the road at this point. Depending on what level of ChatGPT you're using, it may actually put it in a table format for you. If it did not, which it likely won't, in this case, it didn't, you can then use the exact same prompt to organize it. So again, what we've done here, once we've singled out an audience, is we've said, give me objections that the audience may have. Once we have the objections that they may have, the next step was just give me a way to overcome each of the listed objections. So now you have your strategies, and if you wanted to organize it, same thing. You just say, take the above two threads, put it in a table format, and now it will start going to work. Now, before I shift gears and go into the next section, I want to pause here and just make sure that I'm not going too fast. I'm not trying to repeat myself too much. I want to go as slow as I can to make sure that all of you get this, but I also want to be respectful of your time and go as fast as I can. So if there's any questions that you all have in the chat, anything that you need me to go back to, feel free to drop it. Drop it in the chat. I'm watching it. And now at this point, we see that there is a three-section column, a three-column table on here's what the objection is, here's the audience that's most likely to experience it, and should you experience it, here's how you overcome it. I did 5 in this case. Let's say that you wanted to do 10, 20, 50, whatever it is. Now, when somebody hits you with this nice little stall, you know how to overcome it. So all of this falls into the sales category. Now, you may be wondering, like, Alan, this is cool, but why am I doing all of this? And I want you to really hear me here. People buy when they feel understood. Everybody feels like their situation is unique, and empathy is a superpower. The problem is we can't actually demonstrate empathy until we understand what they're going through. The problem creates a situation, and the situation is what actually prompts the sale. For example, let's say that this was an in-person workshop today, and I woke up and my car didn't start. Well, I got a problem on my hands because I have somewhere to be, which then creates a situation that I need to find a way to get there. Who gets the sale? Uber. Problem causes the situation. Situation is what drives the sale. So the goal in us taking the time to do all of this, the goal is very simple. We are able to do 2 things at the same time. Number 1 is we are able to create content for a specific audience so that they don't tune it out. When they see our content, whether it's a newsletter, a talking head video, it's a meme, whatever it is, they see it and they say, oh my God, this is me. This applies to me. This resonates. Or if it's not for me, I maybe know somebody who could benefit from learning this. So when that happens, though, really hear me on this. What you are able to do is imply a very important message. And that is, you are implying, you know what, if you are the person who is experiencing blank, let's talk. If you're the kind of person who's a retiree on a fixed income, who's getting beat over the head with home repairs, let's talk. I understand you. I am the trusted resource to help you navigate through that situation. So all of this comes in handy when we shift gears. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move into the email space. So do me a favor, drop in the chat yes or no, who is currently using this to draft emails? Because this isn't exactly a secret. At this point, my guess there's a lot of you that are aware that you can do this. The challenge is ChatGPT is only as good as what you tell it to do, which means if we give it a lame generic prompt, in turn, it will give us a lame generic answer. So garbage in, garbage out. I'm going to show you how to go really, really deep on this. Now, what's interesting here is what most people would do is they would say, write a follow-up email for a realtor. But you're not most people. That's why you're on this call right now sharpening your skill set. I can change that by saying, write a friendly and professional follow-up email after a listing presentation. Keep it warm, provide a market insight, and encourage the homeowner to reach out with any questions. Now, you might be wondering, Alan, did you just like figure that out on your own? Like, where did that come from? Let me show you how underwhelming this is. You can ask ChatGPT what you should ask it so that you can get the best response. It's crazy. It's oddly simple. So I asked it for a prompt, in this case, to make it sound human, that addresses a certain pain point, and that's what it gave me. Now, you tell me when you see the response that it gave me if this sounds like a robot wrote it. Hi, seller's name. It was great meeting with you and learning more about your home. I appreciate the opportunity to go over your selling options, and I'm confident that we can position your home to attract the right buyers. Homes in blank neighborhood are currently selling X% faster than last year, and inventory is still tight, meaning this could be a great time to list. If you have any lingering questions or want to discuss the next steps, I'd love to help. Let me know how you're feeling about everything, and if you're ready to move forward, and we can get started at your convenience. Look forward to hearing your thoughts. Drop yes or no in the chat if you guys think that a robot wrote that. It's crazy. At this point, this truly is the worst that ChatGPT will ever be when it comes to writing. Every month that it goes by, it seems like the machine just gets smarter and smarter and smarter. Now, I want to show you a couple pitfalls though, because again, people are starting to use this. Right here in the middle, you have this big hyphen. I think they call it an M dash or an M pause or whatever it is. The reality is, I didn't know one person that actually used that pre-AI. As a matter of fact, in all honesty, I wouldn't even know on my keyboard how to create something like that. Yet you're starting to see that used all of the time. That is an indicator that AI wrote it. Now, on the other hand, if there's too many emojis, that's also a red flag that AI wrote that. So what I encourage you to do is use this as your thinking partner and then make it your own. Now, when we have something, and in this case, the something is the email that it wrote, we can also ask it for other ideas. Other ideas, in this case, you can use it for a follow-up with a lister, follow-up with a seller who hasn't listed yet, a price reduction conversation, buyer lead follow-up after a showing, re-engaging a past seller who didn't list, reaching out to expired listings. Now, some of you may be wondering, Alan, without a real estate background, how did you come up with all of these creative uses? Does anybody have any guess as to how I got the ideas for doing that?
You asked ChatGPT.
Man, you're getting it. It's kind of underwhelming, actually. So again, just at a very, very simple concept here. Talk to ChatGPT the way that you would talk to me. Talk to it the way that you would talk to a human and just say, hey, what should I ask you so that I can get said outcome, and it will do that for you. So once we have something, and in this case, the something is the email that we wrote, we can build on that and we can ask it for variations. So when it has an email that is generated for you, what I find is it's wordy by default. A lot of times there's way too much text that's in there. So you can ask it for a variation. You literally just say, give me a variation of this email, but make it shorter. Summarize it into bullet points. On the other hand, you can expand on it. Let's say that you really like what it is that it gave you. You can expand and say, make this longer. Instead of a one email, turn this into a 10 email follow-up sequence. And now you're really buying back some of your time. You can even say, you know what? Take this email and turn it into an ebook. There's really no limits on what you can do. On the other hand, let's say that you wanted to throw some human touch in here. You could say, give me a variation of this email, but make it funny. Drop a couple dad jokes in there. You can say address blank objection. Once you've singled out an audience, you could say address blank objection. And now all of a sudden, this piece of content starts doing the selling for you. Now, what's interesting is where everything changes is right here. Many people don't know that this exists. So the cool part is when you start saying, write this from the perspective of, now you dive into the storytelling space. Now, if I were to say, give me a variation of that email, but write it from the perspective of a retiree on a fixed income who just received a high maintenance bill, now it starts telling a story that somebody might connect with. So if you've ever wondered, like, how can you radically change this email and get it to sound like a human, write it from the perspective of blank. You can have some fun with it and say, give me a variation of this email, but write it from the perspective of Bruce from the movie Bruce Almighty. Like, there's no stopping you from having some fun with it. So push it to its limits. That's all for email. Now we're going to transfer into the social media and close out with a few tactical things. So who here currently has a drip campaign, an email newsletter, or a LinkedIn newsletter that is actively going out right now? Drop yes or no in the chat if you have one. So far, we don't have one person that has a newsletter. We do have one. All right, cool. So you're really going to get a ton of value out of this. Here's the reason why a lot of people don't have blogs and newsletters is because of how time consuming they are. According to Orbit Media, it used to take on average 4 hours to write a blog post. Who has that kind of time? Especially when you're in sales. It gets grouped into the another thing to do category. So all of that goes out the window with what I'm going to show you next. I'm going to show you something that I like to refer to as the 30-second sales letter format. Now, I want to emphasize here, I am responsible to you, not for you. I want you to take this and run with it, but I also want you to make it your own and don't abuse it. So what I'm going to share with you now is something called the APE format, which has 3 parts. This literally, you feed ChatGPT the data in this sequence. Now you can take anything and turn it into a sales letter. Now the APE format has 3 parts: audience, problem, and explanation. And because we've taken the time to get all of this data in the first section of this call, we now are able to feed ChatGPT a prompt that looks like this. Create an article for blank audience who may be experiencing the problem of blank, explaining why they should blank. If you wanted to swap out article with email, you could do the exact same thing. So create an article for a blank audience who may be experiencing the problem of blank, explaining why they should blank. I would highly recommend that you take a screenshot or a picture of this slide, save it so you can refer back to it. This will likely be the most impactful thing that you learn the entire day. Audience, problem, explanation. And in that order, you can feed anything to ChatGPT and it becomes a sales letter. Let's say that you didn't want to use it for business. You wanted to just have some fun. There's nothing stopping you from feeding ChatGPT a prompt that says, create an article for an audience of middle-aged men who experience the problem of male pattern balding, explaining why they should consider buying Rogaine. See what it says? Have some fun with it. And I'm looking in the mirror when I say that because my hairline is going at an alarming rate. Anyways, enough about that. Let's shift gears into what this would look like. Because I already have done this data table, in this case, my article is create an article to an audience of retirees on a fixed income who experience the problem of high cost of home repairs, explaining why they should consider listing their home for sale. The listing their home for sale is the action that I want them to do. And now you click send, and it's going to start going to work. Now, depending on what level of ChatGPT that you're using, you may notice that it opens up a new window like it did here. It may not do that. Whatever it is, sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. The idea here, and I want to pause and remind you again, I'm responsible to you, not for you. I don't want you to just copy and paste. I want you to make this your own because a couple things can happen. If we are in the business of branding ourselves as the trusted resource and a thought leader in our industry, and our audience knows the way that we talk and carry ourselves online, let's say that we're a little, relaxed. We use a little bit of slang, we use a little bit of humor. And now you have an article that looks like a Harvard professor wrote it. Well, they're going to realize it's not from you. Second off, sometimes ChatGPT gives wrong information. And if it has wrong information and you stamp your branding on it, well, now you lose credibility. On the other hand, let's say that everything is right and you didn't even read it and you post it. And somebody comes up to you and they say, you know what? I saw the article that you put out last week and it was life changing. I love what you said in paragraph 3, section 2, and you have no idea what's in it. You will also lose credibility. So don't be that person. So once you have this article, again, I already showed you the whole variations thing. You might be wondering, where do I put this? If you've ever wanted to start a blog, but you don't want to actually go out and invest in a website, the easiest of easy wins is to start a LinkedIn newsletter for a few reasons. For starters, you bypass all of the mood swings of the algorithm. Because if you just make a post, whoever sees it, sees it. And you're at the mood of whatever, mercy of whatever mood LinkedIn is in. And sometimes you'll have some great content, but LinkedIn's in a pretty lousy mood and nobody will see it. You bypass all of that. And really hear me on this. You bypass all of that when you start a LinkedIn newsletter. Actually, better yet, who here on this call has a following on LinkedIn that's over 1,000 people? Just drop how many people you're connected with on LinkedIn, just so I can read the audience. Because let's say, and I'm just going to use that 1,000-person example. Let's say that you have 1,000 people that you're connected to. All right, so Anthony is sitting on a gold mine. He's got 20,000. So check this out, Anthony. And by the way, I really, really hope you take this and you run with it. You got 20,000 people you're connected to, which means if you just make a post, a fraction will actually see it. But if you don't have a newsletter set up, definitely do this. As soon as you set one up and you publish your first edition of your newsletter, all 20,000 of them, every single one of them will receive a notification saying that you started your newsletter, and it will ask them if they want to subscribe. For those who subscribe, LinkedIn treats that as an opt-in, which means every future edition of your newsletter that you post, every subscriber is going to see it. And here's how you would set this up. Is you would just go to your profile, and then you would click on Write an Article. And once you click on Write an Article, you'll see a new set of menus pop up. And you'll see something that says Manage. Once you click on the Manage button at the top right, you'll see something that says Create Newsletter. So I'll walk this back. On your main screen, step 1, Article. Here's where most people stop though. If you just create an article, it's like a normal post. If you want to actually set up the newsletter and skip the line for distribution, you have to go to Manage, Create Newsletter, and then it just asks for some basic information on what to set it up. Now, for those of you who are like, Alan, this sounds good, but I have no idea what to call this newsletter. I need some help with ideas. Does anybody have any idea on what we might want to do to get newsletter ideas? Does anybody have any idea on what we may do or who we may ask? Rich has his hand up.
Yeah. Ask ChatGPT.
Yeah. I like, guys, I wish I could flex here a little bit more. The truth is it's oddly simple. Most people haven't really met somebody like myself to bust out the crayons and draw stick figures and bring you from step 0 to step 1. And I promise you, if you guys don't know how to do this and you're a forward-thinking group of people, which is why you're here in one of the busiest hours of your day to learn about this, your competition is not going to do it. So please take this, run with it. Step 1, write an article. Step 2, manage. Step 3, create newsletter. And step 4, there's your information. So what you would do is you would make this your own. I don't want you to just copy and paste. I want you to make this your own so it actually sounds like you. Because ChatGPT knows things about your business that you don't know. And it's actually crazy. This is the one thing that I've ever seen in my life where I can actually learn something and create something at the exact same time. Now, all that you would do is you would take that and you would bring it to LinkedIn, and then you would create a thumbnail image. For those of you who aren't aware, ChatGPT, along with several other AI softwares, have a text to image feature. But I wanted to show you something. First off, drop in the chat, what do you all think of the image that I'm using right over here? How do you think this would work over? And better yet, do you happen to notice anything that just, might be a little off with this image? Maybe a misspelling that's somewhere in a really, really important place. Anybody notice that? Yeah. Exactly. So if I'm in the business of branding myself as a thought leader and the trusted resource, and I have an article thumbnail that says soul, S-O-L-E instead of sold, and I stamp my branding on, my credit score should go down. Like it's just it's insane how, it's insane how Chat GPT of all things, it gets the text wrong, yet you literally say, create a thumbnail image to do this. So I bring this up to remind you this is cool technology, but it is still flawed and it is still in the developing stage. So how that would work is you would just follow up the article and say, create a thumbnail image that is the following dimensions. And from there, you'll see it goes to work. You can ask it for variations, but instead of showing you all good today, I wanted to show you the bad. I wanted to show you the real because although it's cool, it's not perfect. So now, if you want to actually see how this is done and best practices for newsletter, I'll, invite you to subscribe to mine. Just scan the QR code. Basically, what I do, the Do-It-Yourself Marketing Alliance, that's my newsletter. Once a week, you're going to get a new article that's on something focused on AI, personal branding, sales, marketing, or graphic design. It's all focused on helping salespeople market themselves without spending any money. So I bring this up to just say, hey, if you want to see the best practices and get an idea of what to do, what not to do, how to turn it into a sales funnel, how to promote it, I don't want to claim to be an expert in this because the reality is I've been doing it less than a year. But in less than a year, I've managed to get to about 1,400 subscribers, which then means I'm viewed as a thought leader because everybody posts, the masses post, but only thought leaders publish. And having a newsletter allows you to be viewed as a thought leader because that's your publication. When you have a publication, you might get quoted. You might get asked to speak on a panel, a podcast, do a speaking engagement. So all of these little do-it-yourself hacks you can do without spending any money. So that'll get you right to my newsletter. Now I bring this up to walk back the heat method on education. When you sell, you break rapport. But when you educate, you build it. And that works because when you educate, it's your prospect's idea to engage with you. If I was still selling cars and I went up to somebody who had a 20-year-old rust bucket that barely started, and I gave him my business card and said, hey, buddy, it looks like you need a new car. Can you stop by at noon and look at some options? How likely am I to get anywhere with that? But if I made content that said, here's 5 signs that keeping your old car may be costing you more money than replacing it, now I have your attention. Now I've provided value and it becomes your idea to engage with me. So when you sell, you break rapport, but when you educate, you build it. I'll put the QR code up here for another 30 seconds for you. Now, before I close it out with a couple other things.
Hey, Alan,
Yes.
we do have one question. Regina asked on the LinkedIn newsletter, do you have to do that from your laptop or can you set that up mobile on your cell phone?
You have to do it from your laptop. And Regina, thank you for asking that. There's certain features on LinkedIn for some reason that you just can't do from your mobile. This is one of them. So again, if you attempted to do that from your phone, you just won't find the link. But from your laptop, write article, manage, create newsletter, fill out the info. And you heard this correctly. You publish your first edition of your newsletter, which to clarify the lingo there, edition is an article that is inside of a newsletter. You do that, every single one of your connections is going to get a notification and a request to subscribe. From there, expect on the low end 10%, on the high end 30% will subscribe just because it's you. And then from there, every future edition, all subscribers not only get a notification on the platform, but LinkedIn hits their email with a link to it, and it's free. So while most of these blogging softwares make you create an audience, LinkedIn actually gives you one. So, anyways, more on newsletter. Maybe later I'll stick around and answer some questions on that. But I wanted to close out a couple things because before people read, they scan. Not everybody wants to read a lengthy article, but video, hands down, is the most powerful way for you to start marketing your business. So, on the subject of education-based marketing, simple rule of thumb videos are a huge help. A rule of thumb is basically you busting out your cell phone, putting it on selfie mode, and saying, hey, before you do this, well, here's a rule of thumb. Here's a few things that you should know. And if you would like to build on the audience that you selected earlier, what that prompt would look like for ChatGPT is you would just say, give me 5 rule of thumb videos for a realtor to use for social media that would resonate with blank audience who experiences blank problem. That's all you're doing. You're just saying, give me rule of thumbs for blank audience who experiences blank problems before they do blank action. It's just like the APE format, audience, problem, explanation. And then when we do that, as you see, it'll start going to work. So building on the retiree on a fixed income example, here's my headlines. The 1% rule of home maintenance, the $5,000 rule, the retirement budget test, the accessibility and comfort rule, the equity to cash rule. I don't know any of these, but I don't have to. I just use ChatGPT as my thinking partner. And from there, it gives a brief description. Now, let's say that you needed a script for any one of these. Any guesses on what you would do? Yeah.
Ask ChatGPT.
Great. It's too easy. It really is. So I'll put this prompt on here one more time because I really want you all to have this because you get to take these threads with you. And if you actually do this, now you just drop this into ChatGPT and you could refer back to it at a later date. So I've seen in the chat, a few of you have asked, is this being recorded? It is. But again, you don't need to have the recording if you already have the thread. And if you already have the thread, now it's easy to just replicate it. So from there, we have the rule of thumb videos. But what you would want to do is you would want to take it and make it your own. And what better way to make it your own than just doing a rule of thumb video? Simple stuff. My personal favorite, though, and most people don't know this, is memes. People go on social media so that they can be entertained, which means you as a salesperson, you are likely there to promote, sell, and market your business. Nothing wrong with that, but it's a balancing act. Because you see, if your audience is there to be entertained and you are there to sell and promote, there's a huge disconnect. And if there's a disconnect and you just promote, and sell, you will probably get unfollowed. But you could bridge that gap by using humor. So if you want, go ahead and type go on chat and type this in. Give me 10 meme ideas for a realtor to use to convey the message of now is the best time to list your home for sale. Or if you want to convey a different message, cool. That's how you would do it. Just swap out the second part. Give me 10 meme ideas for a realtor to use to convey the message of now is the best time to list your home for sale. And as we see, it will start going to work. And it will give you templates that you likely have all seen. We have the waiting game, which is the skeleton on the park bench, the Drake Hotline Bling meme, the FOMO cat meme. It even gives you the caption. It takes all of the think work out of this for you. I'm only giving you 10 here, but let's say that you wanted to ask for 30. You do once a day. Now all of a sudden you've mapped out a month's worth of content. Now, this gives you the ideas. The next question that is likely on your mind is, Alan, well, where do I find the templates? This would be a great screen for you to screenshot. Imageflip.com, the largest directory of memes on the internet. So what I love about this is free with a paid option. It's free, meaning you can build this and there's a watermark that's on it. If you want the watermark to go away, it'll cost you $5 a month. If you're a total cheapskate like I am, you can generate it and screenshot it so there is no watermark. Not hating, I'm just saying there is a way around it. Was there a question? I heard somebody just talk.
Yeah, sorry, that was the phone ringing, but we do have questions in the chat. So if somebody, Barbara asked if she's not currently paying for ChatGPT, but then she goes to pay for it, will her old streams be available?
Yeah, and what's going to happen is your streams right now will be deleted, I believe, after 30 to 60 days. So if you
Okay.
want to actually save it, invest in ChatGPT Plus. Not only does it write better, is it builds a persona around you. So, weeks, months, years go by, it has all of this data that you've already fed it. And now it just simply writes better, it responds better, the problem-solving skills are better. You have things like text to image, and it just does more. It opens up a whole new world as well, too, for the Explore GPT section, which is kind of like the apps on the App Store, but it's optional, but I personally do it. Let's see. The meme question, I already got that up right over here.
Yeah, we got that.
We got that. Bingo. So now that
Yeah.
we all that you would do is you would go to this website and you would find the template name, which you see at the top. So you would just search for whatever it gave you. And at that point, you would just take the caption, or if you want to make your own, and bring it to here. So we're going to have some fun with this. I'm going to give you a handful of examples. Now, the 2-second rule is a very real thing on social media. According to Facebook, on average, we spend 1.7 seconds on a piece of content. So unless you are short and to the point, there's a good chance your message is going to get forgotten. Memes work so well because they force you to be short and concise. Now, earlier when I showed you that diagram of salespeople, marketer, and designers, visual storytelling was a term that I used, which is the art of conveying a message without a long block of text. So take this picture and really dissect it. You have two images here. At the top, you have Drake who is rejecting something. That's implying that whatever's at the top is not going to work, but whatever is at the bottom will. So I can take the exact framework that chat gave me and say, waiting until next year to sell? Well, apparently that's not going to work for Drake. But what will work? Selling now and taking advantage of the market. In a short and concise manner, I've taken that, I've blended humor and advertising together, and now I have the chance that somebody might share this. Think for a second. This is an advertisement. And if somebody shares it, didn't they just pass along your business card, but they did it in a really cool way? It's the power of memes. You're bridging the gap between advertising and personality. I could take the exact same framework that I did and put it over the change my mind guy. Now is the best time to sell your home. Exact same message. Chat was the one that gave me the idea. I could take the exact same message and putting over the waiting skeleton. You got a skeleton who's on a park bench. He waited so long that he died. Why? What was he waiting for? Well, he was waiting for a better time to sell his home. Very clear and concise message. So the idea is you're blending humor and advertising together. And I'll give you a bonus one. You can even use this for your follow-up. This is my all-time favorite meme, guys. This single-handedly has probably, when I was selling cars, resurrected 20 to 30, dead leads, as we used to call them. You got a guy who's waiting, who's still waiting, and he's still waiting. But what is he waiting for? Well, you know what? That's me waiting to hear back from you. I promise you, if somebody is ghosting you, they are well aware of the fact that they are ghosting you. So if you send them something like this, it's a huge pattern interrupt, and it softens the silence. They see it and they're like, all right, I know I'm dragging you through the mud. I got to at least return your call now. Try it. You will get a response. It might not be a good response, but you'll at least get a response. So to close things out, there's a few of you on this call that might be wondering, Alan, this is great, but can you give me a plan? I can give you a plan, but why don't I just tell you exactly what my plan would be to do? You can go on ChatGPT and type this exact prompt in. Give me a 30-day, or if you want to do 60-day or a 90-day, whatever you want to do it. Give me a 30-day social media content calendar for a realtor to use that would resonate with blank audience who experiences blank problem. Go ahead and type that in. I'll give you about 30 seconds or so to do it. Give me a 30-day social media content calendar for a realtor to use that would resonate with blank audience who experiences blank problem. And again, if the spelling is off, don't even worry, it will get it. And here's what will happen. It'll even break things down to weeks. Week 1, do this. Week 2, shift gears and do this. Week 3, it's crazy. I look at this and I'm genuinely depressed for all of the people who are not using this. Because truly, I mean, think of a time in history where every market has been rattled so heavily over the past year. Actually, past couple years, past 5 years, let's be realistic. And we're all trying to figure out the same thing. How can we get a competitive edge on our competition? And now you have something that works faster than humans. It's out speeding people. 24 hours a day it can work. It could be activated by, integrating it with other things. And now it's actually outskilling a lot of people. And there's people that are still skeptical and sitting on the the sidelines. So we have all of that. I want to close it out with this. It doesn't matter what it is that you sell. Every single business, we all go through the exact same 3 steps, and I'm going to demonstrate how this works actually for my business. Every single business, when it comes to generating leads, has 3 parts. Advertise, capture, sell. You can have the best product or service in the world, but I can't buy from you unless I know that you exist. So we have to advertise, we have to get the word out. We have to attend networking events, run Facebook ads, go to community events, build whatever it is, there's endless amounts of way that you can advertise. The truth is, not everybody's our customer. Let's say that I owned a restaurant. Let's say that I had one of the best steakhouses in the entire city. If I were to spend my advertising dollars on vegans, do you think that that's probably a good use of funds? I'm not saying they won't buy my product or service, but if I have a limited ad budget, it's just not the easiest win. So step 2 is we have to collect the name, email address, and phone number of somebody who is actually interested. We need to give them a lead magnet or something to take home with them to demonstrate that we can actually help them. Because before people will pay you with their money, they will pay you with their time. They do that, they invest their time into consuming your content to figure out if you're the right fit to hire. So once we capture a lead and we create an opportunity to sell, we finally just need to convert that person into a paid client. For the sake of simplicity, the only thing that we went over today was how you can advertise without spending any money. At this point, if I were to go any deeper, your head would probably start hurting because this is very content rich already. So I want to give you a demo of how this works and how you could actually do this for your LinkedIn newsletter for those of you who like that concept. Again, you can't sell until you create an opportunity for you to sell. In my case, I'm a speaker. What do I sell? I sell training services where I help salespeople leverage AI. How do I create opportunities to sell? I give people something of value. In this case, that something of value that I would like to give away to you, my literally no strings attached gift for you today, just for being here, as I want you to have my new my ebook on how you can dominate the newsfeed without spending a dime. In this, I'm going to do a deep dive on the heat method and how you can stay top of mind without spending any money. Because at this point, there's really no lack of resources in this world. There's simply a lack of resourcefulness. But the thing is, we all have access to the same tools, but we don't have access to the same presence. And that presence, your personal brand, truly is what makes you unique. This is what makes you a market of one. Because right now we're not just competing with humans, we're also competing with technologies. So if you want that, again, that's my no strings attached gift to you. For those of you who just had an idea go off, yes, you can start your LinkedIn newsletter and drive traffic to something like this and turn it into a sales funnel. Now, for those of you who are like, Alan, you know what? Thank you for the freebie, but like, I really enjoyed today. What does maybe working with you look like? I don't care if you buy this. I'm just going to give you an option to work together for those of you who may be interested. So here's what I did is I put together an AI marketing crash course. We're in 3 1-hour Zoom calls. This is pre-recorded so you can do it at your pace. I'm going to show you how to dominate the newsfeed without spending a dime. Basically, everything that's in that book, I'm going to do with you, give you the prompts, give you the resources, and actually walk you through the process. So a little bit on what to expect is we're going to go over the three-step target customer mastery program because when we try to talk to everybody at the same time, that's the easiest way to get ignored. We become that one restaurant that has 50 things on the menu that none of them are good because there's no identity and nobody can consume our content and say, this is for me. So I'm going to help you create a niche. From there, we're going to go over the 30-second AI sales letter format, and I'm going to show you how to set up the LinkedIn newsletter. From there, I'm going to show you how to build your subscriber counts. Again, I'm not flexing. The reality is I've only been doing this less than a year. But in less than a year, I've managed to get about 1,400 subscribers. At that point, now I'm in the thought leader category, and I get invited pretty often to either speak at events or go on podcasts. Why? Because people know my insights and they know the way that I think based off of the content that I post. So I'm going to show you how to set that up. From there, we're going to shift gears and have a little bit of fun. I'm going to show you how to take memes, turn them into advertisements, give you all of the sites, all of the databases, all of the Facebook groups, literally everything that you need to figure out how to source them for yourself and then make them your own. From there, we'll do a deep dive on Canva. And when I say deep dive on Canva, everything is going to be template based. We're not talking about anything that's time consuming or advanced, literally 2 minutes or less. We're going to go over how you can take FAQs from ChatGPT, turn them into graphics so more people can see them, quote graphics, repurpose reviews, all of these things. For those of you that are like, Alan, you know what? I'm a slow learner. I got you. Don't worry. There is a workbook. Step 0 to step 1 to step 2 to step 3. So if you are interested, the QR code is right there. If you're watching this on a phone, the link is getalanscourse.com. And again, I don't care if you buy this. I didn't come here to give you a sales pitch. I just want you to genuinely think of the opportunity that you have right now. And the opportunity that you have is the majority of your competition is not learning how to do stuff like this. They're wondering if AI is going to stick around. They're wondering, you know what is it going to look like in another 6 months, a year? Is it going to affect their industry? The reality is the robots have always been coming for our jobs. Every business wants to make more money and they want to minimize expenses. So all that that's going to do is make you, the individual who has a strong personal brand, that much more valuable because we all have access to the same tools, just not the same presence. So for those of you who are interested, I'd love to further the conversation with you. If there's any questions that you have on any of the content that we went over, I'm here to serve. Any questions that you have, feel free to unmute yourself. At this point, the last slide that I wanted to go over, turning it back to Rich and Tony, they wanted to talk a little bit about a new program.
Yeah, so we've got, if you guys haven't heard, effective June 24th, Cook County is coming back with their down payment assistance program of $25,000. That's right. 5% of the purchase price or $25,000 will be available. Limited use. There's about $8.6 million that the county has set aside for this, but this is a really phenomenal opportunity. It is better than IDA currently for the moment for a couple reasons. Number one, you do get access to more money. But number two, they also go down to a 620 credit score. So this is some pretty attractive stuff. Al and I were talking about this originally. Like, could you now use the skills that you got through ChatGPT and through this presentation to go out and make content and go get that first time home buyer who just told you in the last month, the last 90 days, hey, I would love to buy right now, but I don't have the money. I'll tell you what, if they're looking in Cook County right now, this program is the one. Going to probably be available to 300 or 400 clients before the money runs out. Again, it's 5% or $25,000, whatever is less. But this is a program I would try to use some of these skills. Now, we also have this particular piece that we created that you guys can go out and use. Reach out to us. We left a spot for your content or your information on the piece. We can get it out to you. We're going to send you a survey at the end of this class. In that survey, if there's anybody that you have that you would like to see if they get qualified for this, please put their information in the survey. Me and my team will reach out, immediately get them qualified so they are ready to go and jump in this program when it's available in, let's say, a week from today. So this is some huge stuff. The other thing that I wanted to mention to you guys, I know there was some other questions here that we just didn't get to. Alan's available for some of those questions. We put his contact information in there. We ran a little bit long today, but I see a lot of feedback. Alan, you got a lot of really positive feedback in here. A lot of people love this as far as that's concerned. There was a question, thank you very much, about that. You guys have been incredible. We got a couple things upcoming for you guys. So aside from this $25,000, which you guys should be using to get leads together for the next couple of months, we do have a live renovation class coming to the Main Street Organization of Realtors office on June 24th. We did the class in Rolling Meadows last month. We're going to do the one in Tinley Park on June 24th. That's 10:30 to 12:30. We're going to have our renovation team out there to show you guys how you could use that product to close more transactions. After that, we're going live to Libertyville. A lot of people up in Lake County have asked us to be live in the Main Street offices up there. So we're going over there and we're taking Ryan Shafkus with us. Ryan is a tax appeal attorney. He's a phenomenal resource. We've used him for years. He handles every county and commercial and residential. If you or your clients have some tax issues relative to what you're paying in rates on your residential, well, on any real estate for that matter, Ryan's the guy that you want to meet. Look for the survey with regards to getting us some folks that we can get immediately qualified for the 25,000. Thank you guys all for coming. Alan, thank you for your time. You hit it out of the park. Some of the feedback in here has been incredible. So we really, really appreciate you. I appreciate our friendship, but I really appreciate the content that you provide. Tony, none of this stuff happens without you. And trust me, I know it. So we thank you very, very much. Dos Manos, he sent me a text. He had to jump off and move somebody, I guess. But for Dos Manos Moving, we thank them for sponsoring. And guys, again, if you've got some questions we couldn't get to, I apologize. It's closing in on 1:30. Reach back out to Alan directly. He'll get you squared away. Reach out to us about the 25,000 DPA. Otherwise, have an amazing day. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Appreciate
Alan,
you.
thank you.
You're welcome.